Hey! Every great story needs a great hero. Unfortunately, 10 years ago, this was his design. Yes, this image does haunt me. So I decided to ruin my sleep schedule to redesign him along with the two other protagonists for my upcoming indie animation trailer called Unleashed, a world where ancient cryptids walk among us, and one kid's search for his grandmother accidentally sparks a fight with the god of monsters. In this video, I'll make sure they have clear silhouettes, enticing backgrounds, and a consistent design that shows their personality. And by the end of the video, you'll know exactly who they are, how they argue, and why they somehow still function as a team. Let's get started. Meet Connor Runa. Oh god, please take that away, it hurts the soul. This was my second attempt. I like the colors. Tried not to stick to the normal protagonist colors like blue or red. However, the design's quite generic, there's nothing really you can tell about him. So I'm going to adjust his shape as well as upgrade him to my current art style. And add more vibrant and lively colors, because these colors are just too dull. In this world of cryptids and myths, Connor's the heart of the trio, the emotional anchor that keeps the other two from burning the world down. While he's soft-hearted and naive, he has this powerful, unexplained connection to cryptids, their powers, their instincts, even fragments of their memory. It's a gift he doesn't understand, and one that grows more dangerous the more he uses it. I decided to make him with the circle-shaped language in mind to highlight his kind and warm nature, but also have some triangle shapes around him to show how dangerous his cryptid powers are. Because beneath that kind smile is a storm he does not yet know how to control. He's 16 with the entire weight of his family on his shoulders. Connor Runa was born into poverty and raised by two hard-working parents. No Disney orphan arc here? His father breaks his back in construction by day, sometimes warehouses by night. His mother is a night shift nurse who barely sleeps, patching up strangers while barely keeping her own family afloat. They've lost jobs, family, friends, even their own home once, but never each other. They fought for every meal, every dollar, every sliver of peace. And through it all, there was always Grandma, his light in the dark. The one who filled his world with stories of myths and monsters, of cryptids hidden in plain sight in the worst of their days. To help his family, he takes odd jobs across town, saving every dollar he can. It's not glamorous, but it's honest. He didn't have much, just family, a leaky roof, and a one small bedroom apartment shared by 4 people. But he was happy, hopeful, the kind of kid who believed there was still good in people, even when his world kept trying to prove him wrong. And it wasn't easy when that world is situated in Florida. I know, but bear with me. Then one night, everything changes. A nightmare grips him. 3 monstrous shapes looming in the dark. The smallest, with glowing green eyes, grabs him in its hand and slams him against a tree. And just before he's swallowed by the earth, he feels it. Something ancient, something alive beneath the earth, calling to him. And in that moment, he feels fear, sorrow, and then anger. He wakes up, trembling, drenched in sweat, his eyes glowing faintly before fading. By morning, everything feels wrong. The air, the ground, the world. His strength is unnatural. His reflexes sharper, like something inside him has been switched on. This is great, he thinks. Something he can use to help his family. Imagine all the jobs he could do now, all the time he could save. But by nightfall, his grandmother is gone. No note, no trail, just her cane left in the wreckage of her room. The police? Unsure. His family? Broken. And Connor feels all those same emotions again. Fear, sorrow, and then anger. Stepping into action, he follows her scent deep into the Everglades, running faster, farther than any human should. His pulse burns with that of green light, his instincts wild, his power uncontrolled. That's where his story begins. Not as a hero, but as a scared kid stepping into a hidden world to make sure his family doesn't suffer another loss. Where myths breathe, monsters walk, and legends are very, very real. And there we go, we have Connor's new design. Simple. Now he has a bigger build from working odd jobs, gloves for heavier lawn work, kept the shorts for easier movement, kept the sweater around his waist which will serve for a story purpose in the future. And of course the big Sasquatch foot logo on his shirt shows that he has an interest in myths, cryptids and such. Definitely a far cry from the second attempt. Before moving on to the next character, here's my 3rd, 4th, and 5th attempt. After the 5th attempt I went and asked my friend Ty, hey, what do you think of the design? And his words were, I hate it. I don't like this art style. And while that did shake me for a bit, looking back, he was right. Take a look at these silhouettes. They're practically the same. My art style didn't have any substance. And while it kind of bugged me for a bit, I'm glad he spoke like he did, because now I could make it even better before I launched the trailer, so thanks, Tyler. Oh yeah, for being so direct on that one. Next, we have Reginald Chevllan, the antithesis to Connor. Yeah, the name sounds expensive, because it is. He's the kind of kid who probably had a personal chef before he could even tie his own shoes. But don't let the suit fool you. There's more to him than arrogance and a perfect haircut. His first design wasn't bad per se. I liked the idea of the golden tux, but his body type back then was too similar to Connor. You couldn't really tell that he was meant to be scrawnier, and his color palette felt kind of off. So I'll be working on that next. Reg is the mind of the trio, the cynic, the strategist, the skeptic money man. He hides his fear behind sarcasm intellect, dissecting every situation like it's a chessboard. But underneath that cool confidence, just a kid terrified of being alone again. Born into obscene wealth as the heir to Chevllan Extraction Inc., England's largest oil company, Reginald's crib was made of mahogany and his childhood gilded. His mother sadly passed away when he was barely old enough to remember her, and his father, stricken with grief, buried himself in business. While the empire grew, Reginald was left behind. He grew up surrounded by staff who smiled for paychecks, not affection, and he learned early on how to spot the difference between sincerity and performance, because he'd been performing his entire life. By 12, he was already a prodigy, negotiating contracts, studying finance, memorizing loopholes. He became the perfect heir, brilliant, untouchable, and utterly insufferable. If the meal wasn't gourmet, he wouldn't eat it. If the music wasn't classical, it was noise. Every demand, every tantrum, all part of a show meant to make his father notice. But when no one was watching, he'd sneak into the East Hall at night and play Jerry Lee Lewis on the grand piano until his fingers blistered. Wild, reckless, imperfect music that sounded more human than anything else in the house. The only one who ever truly saw the truth was Connigan Heath, his head butler and closest confidant. The man who saw the lonely child beneath the spoiled prince. Reginald lives for the attention, the spotlight, the spectacle, the applause. He's been to yacht parties, private islands, and safaris, but he's done it all, seen it all, owned it all. And somehow it all still feels empty. That is, until he hears a rumor. A legend in the Florida Everglades, a creature untouched by man, unrecorded by science. A cryptid. Finally, something new, a thrill. Boredom turns into obsession, and before long, he's halfway across the world, dragging his crew and poor Connigan to a swamp, chasing a myth that might finally make him feel alive again. He finds it. Or more correctly, it finds him. The skunk ape. A feral titan of muscle and stench, and the first thing in his life that ever made him afraid. His crew abandons him, Connigan stays, and in that moment of chaos when the beast closes in, Reginald freezes, paralyzed by terror, until Connigan falls unconscious in the chaos. Then, for the first time, Reginald doesn't think for himself. He tries to carry his friend to safety, but he's not strong enough. The creature's shadow falls over him, until a flash of green light splits the dark. Runa crashes into the fight, saving them both, glowing with that strange green power. The battle commences, the unexplained versus the impossible. And for the first time, Reginald's heartbeat feels real. For the first time, he feels alive. Terrified, but alive. And he wants in. Connor refuses to let him join the search for his grandmother. Too dangerous, too personal. You can't put someone in harm's way like this. But Reginald, ever the opportunist and manipulator, smirks and shows him the camera. He caught everything on tape, and he knows exactly how to leverage. Backed into a corner, Connor reluctantly agrees. And that's how it begins. A broke kid with a good heart and a spoiled genius with a camera. Chasing monsters through the wild, each for reasons the other can't understand. And done! His silhouette is definitely in contrast to Connor's, more scrawny, like he's never lifted a finger in his life. His background is very entertaining, and his colors and design scream show off an attention hoarder, elegant, and a taste for money. And last but not least, following Granny's trail leads them to the third member of the trio. Meet Lee Long. Lee is the survivor of the trio, the wild card, the fighter, the spark that never goes out. If Connor is the heart and Reginald is the mind, then Lee's instinct. Pure motion and muscle memory wrapped in impulse. As someone with no family and nothing to lose, she survived through skill and grit alone. But unlike Connor, who has love, and Reginald, who has, money, Lee has nothing. Her outer strength hides her inner fear. If I disappeared, would anyone notice? For her, her design should be more triangular shaped, sharp, dynamic, quick. Her old design had some of that aspect, but the silhouette can be stretched a little further, with a more of a triangular shape with a little bit of roundness to internalize her fears. Perhaps go a little bit heavier on the red for the danger factor. Lee grew up in the backstreet slums of China, where the roofs leaked, the streets never slept, and kindness wasn't a currency that anyone could really afford. She learned early on that the world doesn't hand you anything. You have to take it. Food, warmth, safety, all earned, or stolen in her case. However, never having a teacher who would tolerate her unruly attitude, Lee would learn to mimic masters from afar, learning their movement as best she could, which resulted in a very unorthodox and sloppy style of fighting that ironically worked in her favor. Think of Jackie Chan in a furniture store. While she never had a formal education, she was sharp, learning just enough English to hustle tourists and vanish before they realized they'd been robbed. Freedom was her only friend. She went where she wanted, did what she wanted, but even freedom has a shadow, never having a place to truly call her home or her people. When she meets Connor and Reginald for the first time, they're hot on his grandmother's trail, but they're unfamiliar with the mountains in this region to enter. It's pure opportunity, 2 marks ripe for the picking. The kid's too kind and the rich boy's too distracted by his own reflection. Easy money, she thinks. She offers to be their guide through the mountains, eyes always on Reginald's wallet. Connor, ever the believer in the goodness of people, accepts her help full-heartedly. Reginald, on the other hand, isn't completely convinced. He looks at her, glances at his suit, the way her gazes linger on his wallet. He warns Connor, but Connor believes in her anyway. Maybe because believing in people is the only thing that keeps him from losing faith in himself. Later, deep in the mountains, Reginald's suspicions are confirmed. When Lee is caught stealing his wallet, the group falls apart and she leaves, taking Reginald's camera as payment. But fate doesn't let go so easily. Alone, Lee crosses path with something ancient. The Food Lion, a divine guardian cryptid said to test the unworthy. Despite her skills, she's overwhelmed and injured, her defiance finally cracking into fear, and her screams echo through the trees. Connor hears her. Reginald refuses to turn back. Connor doesn't listen. He can't. Something inside him won't let him abandon her, because he knows that kind of fear, the kind that makes you feel like the world's decided you're disposable. Despite having to reveal his powers to save her, the Food Lion retreats. When the battle's over, she doesn't know what to feel. Anger at herself, awe at what she saw, or the unfamiliar sting of guilt. Lee doesn't understand what she just saw, or why he risked his life for her. For the first time, someone fought for her. Not for gain, not for fame, but simply because he believed she was worth saving. She stays, against every instinct telling her to run. Reginald out flat refuses to let her in, calling her a liability. Connor calls her a friend that deserves a second chance. And in perfect irony, the camera she stole plays back Reginald screaming and tripping over himself during the fight, and threatens to post it online if she's not included. Blackmail is a language she speaks fluently, and Connor can't help but laugh at the deja vu. Her silhouette is much more contrasting with the rest of the gang. Rough edges and triangles with a bit of roundness. Her background is different and unique from the rest, and her design is consistent with her story. These 3 really shouldn't work, but they do. They find balance in each other, and they will learn off each other. Cover their blind spots and weaknesses, all 3 helping each other to grow into the best versions of themselves that they can be. Connor with Reginald is naive versus grounded. Reginald teaches him that you can't always trust everyone so blindly, and Connor teaches him to have empathy. With Lee, it's idealism versus realism. She teaches him how to think on his feet, while he reminds her to fight for more than just survival, and so forth. Comment down below if you're also making an indie animation show, and what part of the video did you like the most? Keep in mind that there is also so much more of this world left to explore, so leave a like and maybe I'll do a part 2. Take care, everyone!